All right, what's up, Blueprint family? Thank you all for joining us. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Excuse me, wonderful weekend. Also, to those who celebrated Thanksgiving, hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. So tonight we do have a wonderful, great topic for those who are in relationships and also those who are not. So we're going to talk about the number one cause of fights in a relationship, whether you're married, your boyfriend and girlfriend, etc., etc. We're going to dive right on in this topic.
Yeah. So this is really based off of our own research and, communicating with other couples and even our own personal experience. Just understanding that what we have found as being one of the top, if not number one, reasons for fight is specificity. All right, specificity. So, what do we mean by that? It is the quality or the condition of being specific. So, while we always talk about open and honest communication, in particular, this is, of course, very important and a cornerstone of a strong relationship. But specificity is often overlooked. And that's extremely important when it comes to learning how to communicate with greater precision and how that can really significantly enhance overall the understanding, reduce conflict, and in particular, foster a deeper connection between the spouses.
Yep. And when you're not specific about your needs, expectations, or feelings, or also too, your spouse is left to guess what you're thinking and feeling. So this can lead to misinterpretations and misunderstandings, which can quickly escalate into arguments. So, for example, clean up the living room. So, if your wife is telling you to clean up the living room, what can happen is that this vague request can lead to an argument because it's not clear what she means by clean up. Do you mean vacuum? Do you mean dusting, putting away toys, or all of the above? So you were asking you to be specific so that we can understand exactly your needs.
Yeah. And we're certainly going to get into some effective strategies for being more specific with your spouse so that you can really avoid miscommunication or misunderstandings. But first, we really want to explain how being more specific in your relationship can really help to foster a deeper understanding and make a great, significant impact on your relationship overall.
Yep. Vague or ambiguous communication can leave spouses guessing about each other's intentions, your desires, and expectations. So, leading to misinterpretations and unnecessary conflicts. So, conversely, specificity eliminates ambiguity. It really does. So, it also ensures both spouses are on the same page and reduce the likelihood of misunderstandings.
Yeah. Yeah. And when couples really embrace specificity, you're ultimately trying to pave the way for effective problem solving. By clearly being able to articulate your needs, your expectations, then you and your spouse can really identify the root cause of your issues and work collaboratively together towards constructive solutions. This is really going to overall help cut down on those conflicts that really can occur.
Yep. And specificity also strengthens the emotional connection between spouses. So when spouses express their thoughts and feelings and needs with clarity and precision, they convey attentiveness, empathy, and care. So this fosters a deep sense of understanding and intimacy, creating a more emotionally fulfilling relationship.
Yeah. Moreover, specific communication, it really can reduce the frustration and the resentment, which often stems from unclear expectations. So, when spouses are able to be specific about your needs, your desires, there's less room for that disappointment or frustration. And, those needs are able to be met much easier than, if your spouse is having to guess or, walk on eggshells trying to figure out, what's on your mind.
All right. And then furthermore, specificity enhances conflict resolution. So when disagreements arise, clear and specific communication helps both spouses understand the core issues and work towards resolutions that address each other's needs. So this fosters a sense of collaboration and compromise rather than resentment and agony or antagonism.
Yeah. Now, before we get into some specific examples, overall, we really want to convey the message that specificity demonstrates respect for your spouse's time, their feelings, their needs, and it really shows that you value them and you're looking to really be open and honest with your communication, like we talk about often being, the cornerstone of that relationship. But it really helps you to foster what it means to be precise in that communication so that there's less conflicts in particular. And
Mhm.
this respect really serves as, the foundation for a strong and enduring relationship. So that's really important.
And by embracing specificity in your communication, couples can minimize fighting, deepen your connection, and cultivate a more fulfilling and satisfying relationship. So specificity is not merely a communication tool; it is an investment in the longevity of and the well-being of your relationship as well. So, so let's get into some strategies, some very effective strategies for being more specific with your spouse, so that you can avoid miscommunications and misunderstanding in your relationship. Very important. So, number one, provide clear instructions and expectations. For example, instead of saying clean up the living room, like we had mentioned before, specify what you want done, such as please vacuum the living room floor or dust the furniture and put away any toys or clutter,
Yeah.
so that you all are on one accord.
Yeah, really gets down what you mean by clean up.
Right.
We often hear, sometimes the woman may get frustrated at the man for not cleaning up the way she wants, but when you just say clean up, the living room, it's so vague. It can mean
Right. It can
anything,
be
and
anything.
the guy is going to clean up based on what he determines to be cleaning up, and you can't really,
Right.
be upset when you're not specific. So that's really what we mean by specificity. You gotta be specific.
Yeah, but also too, another one is timeliness. So specify your timelines and deadlines. So
Mhm.
for example, the request be home for dinner doesn't specify time.
Yeah.
So your spouse could show up at 6, 7, or 8, and you could be upset that they're late.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. That often happens.
Yep. So when asking for help or requesting tasks, provide clear timelines or deadlines. So for instance, instead of saying be home for dinner, please say this instead. Please be back home by 7 o'clock before dinner.
Yeah, give that specific timeline. It helps get rid of that ambiguity that we're talking about.
Right.
That really will foster the frustration.
Right. Another one I saw too that was great about the cleaning.
Mhm.
If a wife is asking a husband to take out the trash, please, because the trash is full, instead of her saying, please take out the trash,
Specify when.
specify when exactly, because you don't know what he's doing. If he's in another room, he may be busy doing something else. And say, husband, I really need you to take out this trash right now because I need to put this food in it, or this
Yeah.
container in it or whatnot. It's full, please.
Yeah, it really helps.
Right.
Also, articulating specific needs and requests, right? So, for example, when you make the request, I need your help. This is super vague. It doesn't really say, what you need help with. So, you could definitely offer, dinner or laundry or errands, but you might be upset if your spouse doesn't offer specifically what you're wanting them to help you with. This will be a common reason why arguments will start. So when seeking help and assistance, instead of saying, I need help, that vague statement, specify the task or, support that you require, such as I need your help unloading the laundry or folding the laundry or, unloading the groceries or taking out the trash. Being specific on the task that you need will help you to get what you want
Right.
versus just saying, vaguely.
Right. And don't forget about the timing and also the deadline as well. So you say, I need help with the groceries now, please. But don't think that, especially for men, don't think that we understand exactly when you need this stuff done. So
Mhm.
don't make that mistake in thinking that we are mind readers, that men are mind readers, because we're not.
Yeah.
And we need this type of specific communications, especially for our wives, because we don't do things to try to make you upset. We just don't understand you clearly and fully on what your expectations are.
Yeah, and it can really lower your self esteem of the man or the woman in general because you're constantly trying to figure out, am I doing it right? What do you want? Especially if you don't know what's going to make your spouse tick, right? You kind of walking on eggshells because you never know if they're going to, be upset about you doing something right or wrong. So it certainly will help, minimize that lowering of self-esteem and making you feel unworthy about, what you're doing and your accomplishments. And instead, it gives you the specific task that you need. So that way you're able to meet it right on point. It will really help.
Right. And then also to avoid generalizations and accusations. We say this often than not. So, for example, the statement, you never help me around the house,
Yeah.
is a generalization that could lead to an argument because it's not specifically about what you need help with or when your spouse has failed to help in the past. It's not always based on facts either. So instead of making broad statements like this, replace that with you never, what does it go back?
No, instead of making that broad statement, replace it with specific instances.
So, for example, say, I
Mhm.
appreciate your help with dinner, but I could use more assistance with cleaning and laundry.
Hmm. Yep. That gets definitely more specific than you never help me around the house. Because, I'm sure your spouse does help you around the house sometimes, but maybe just not exactly the way you want. This is why we're really bringing up specificity is really a underlying cause of a lot of things because you got to get specific. And the instances and the behaviors, your needs, your wants, your values, all of that really helps overall communication.
Yeah. So, another tip is to use I statements to express feelings. So, for example, the statement, you're always late, is another generalization. So, that could lead to an argument because it's not specifically about when your spouse has been late in the past. So it's not based on facts.
Yeah.
So instead of accusatory statements like you're always late, express your feelings using I statements. And that word is accusatory.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So use I statements. So for instance, I feel frustrated when you're late because it messes up our schedule.
Yeah, it's more so about communicating from what it is that you need, you want, or how you're feeling, or even how you're thinking at that time. And this can really be applied to any type of situation where you find yourself frustrated in your relationship. It helps again with that problem solving because you're specific. Specificity really allows you to be specific and say, hey, this is the problem. The root cause is I'm frustrated. It's not, that you're necessarily doing something or putting all the blame onto you, but I need to speak up and say, hey, this is impacting me this way because it messes up whatever it is, whether it's the schedule if you're talking about being late, or just hobbies, not being able to do certain things you want, or
Mhm.
even intimacy. That's a big one too. So really being able to express, I feel frustrated or I feel this, and then allowing yourself to dig into the root cause of what the issue is and how they can make it better.
Yeah. And back it up with a because.
Yeah.
So, so another tip is to address specific instances of behavior.
Yeah.
What we mean by that is, for example, the statement, you're always on your phone, is a generalization that could lead to an argument because it's not specifically about something that happened in the past or something
Yeah.
that is based on facts. Um, so instead of generalizing, address specific situations where excessive phone use disrupts your connection. So you say, I feel disconnected when you're constantly on your phone during our evenings together
Yeah.
or at dinner together.
Yeah. It pinpoint, exactly how you're feeling, how they're impacting you, the root cause of what's going on. Yep.
Yep, we're trying to help you to get more results and to communicate more effectively so that you can resolve whatever the issue is.
Yeah. So for those who are tuning in, specificity is the number one cause, what we believe, of fights in relationships.
Yeah.
So another way to be more specific in your communication is to clearly define what your desires are. So, for example, the statement, you never make me feel special. It's very vague and it could lead to an argument because it's not clear on what you mean by make me feel special, right? You're not being specific in what your desires are. So instead, you can use the statement like, I feel special when you take me to dinner, or I feel special when you, make a date for us, or, maybe when you cook for me, or, when you put on some sexy for me. I don't know, anything that you actually want to convey your actual desires that will really help you be more clear and direct on what it is you want your spouse to do for you.
So, by following these tips, you can communicate more effectively, like I was saying before, with your spouse, reducing the likelihood of misunderstandings and fostering a stronger, more harmonious relationship.
Yep. And of course, remember, specificity is not merely a communication tool. It is really an investment in the longevity of your relationship because you're putting in the time, the effort to really deepen that connection by being specific about all types of things. It certainly will help foster, a beautiful relationship or in a deeper connection because of the understanding that it provides overall.
So, please remember to like and share, subscribe to our videos on Instagram and Facebook. And we really appreciate you all who are, and then also too as well. Please like, share, and subscribe topics as well, so that we can cover those. If you all have any topics that you would like for us to cover,
Or recover, because
yeah,
we've had that too.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
that's for sure. It really does help us to continue to grow and foster healthier relationships within our community, which is super important and all about what we're trying to do here.
yeah. So until next time, Blueprint family, we thank you and we appreciate you all for coming out tonight. We're gonna see you all tomorrow. If same time, same place. Peace.